This afternoon, you're listening to the Todd Laborowitz Show, Real Estate Radio and Sound Broadcast Network, AM 1260 The Answer. I'm your host, Todd Laborowitz, and this segment is brought to you by Topaz Mortgage, our preferred partner for all your mortgage needs. You're in for a special treat today because in the studio with us now is George Levanthal. He's president of the Montgomery County Council, and we're going to talk about Montgomery County today. Welcome to the studio.
Hi, Todd. Thanks for inviting me.
I'm so glad that you're here. We got a lot of moving parts coming up next week. Tell our listeners what you have on the agenda.
Every year at this time, we begin the biggest part of our job, which is to go through the proposed budget that the county executive sends us line by line. And public input is very important to that process. We're looking forward to hearing from dozens and dozens of witnesses. We have 5 public hearings scheduled, April 14, 15,
Wow.
and 16. Afternoon and evening hearings. They're all full, unfortunately. We've got a waiting list for witnesses, but we'll have more than 30 witnesses at each of the 5 hearings, and so we'll get a really good cross-section of what people are interested in and what they think we should be spending money on and how they feel about their taxes, the whole range of issues in the budget.
Wonderful. Well, let's get into a couple of the topics that I want to go over with. The first one is keeping the schools funded to draw future taxpayers into Montgomery County from D.C. What's your take on that?
Absolutely. Well, the Montgomery County Public Schools is such a huge part of the Montgomery County brand. I think so many of us moved here because we wanted either our kids or if we moved here as children with our parents, as I did, to benefit from these great public schools. They are among the best in the entire United States. Maryland, depending on which ranking you look at, which year, but year after year, Maryland has scored often number 1 in the United States, and Montgomery County scores number 1 among counties in Maryland. So we're very fortunate. It is expensive, of course, to provide a first-rate education to our students. We spend about $2.5 billion on the school system's budget. They've asked for a little more probably this year than we'll be able to get them. We're still waiting to see what happens in the closing days of the legislative session in Annapolis. There's some disagreement between the governor and the 2 houses of the legislature about the final $25 million for Montgomery County, so we're still keeping our fingers crossed to see if that comes through. But in a budget of $2.5 billion, that's going to be about 1/10 of the total. So overall, we'll provide a very healthy budget, and we'll make sure that we provide the schools most of what they ask for, maybe 97-98% of what they ask for.
Wonderful. So it's one of the best rated schools in the area, and it also keeps the property values higher than other counties.
Well, no question. What our goal should be is that it is uniformly excellent. And so we do have issues with a new superintendent coming on board. We do need to make sure that the new superintendent and the school board are doing everything they can to make sure that no matter where you attend school in Montgomery County, you receive an outstanding education, college preparation. The eastern part of Montgomery County generally has more stressed families, more families coming from economically challenged situations, and those create some difficulties for a learning environment. And that's why it's important that we make sure to invest our resources wisely to try to assist folks, children, especially from disadvantaged families, because education should be the great equalizer. Education ought to provide opportunity for everyone, regardless of what your background is, and that's our goal in Montgomery County.
Well, it seems the first challenge is being aware of it, which you are, and creating that environment. I can definitely see you conquering that issue.
All of the elected officials in the county are committed to addressing what we call the achievement gap. It's not a simple thing, and you can't blame it on anyone. It isn't the school board's fault or the school superintendent's fault that children from families that are economically disadvantaged are going to have some obstacles to overcome when it comes to learning, but we need to make sure that we have the resources in the classroom to particularly help those kids from the most stressed families. I hear some really shocking and disturbing stories about, we have homeless children in our school system. We have children encountering tremendous poverty. So we've got to do everything we can to, as I say, to help people climb that ladder, and education is the best way to do that.
Wonderful. I'm so happy that you say that, because a lot of people, they try to ignore it, or they just say, I need to move over here so I can stay away from that. And it's important to take on this challenge, and that's probably what makes Montgomery County so great, is you don't avoid issues, you actually take them head on.
I think that's right. We're a wealthy county. We're generally in the top 10 of wealthiest counties in the United States. Again, it depends which survey and which year. But we do have rising numbers of economically disadvantaged people who are really struggling to get by from month to month. And so we're generous county, we're a compassionate county. We do a lot, I think, to assist those who don't begin life with the same advantages that others of us have.